How's the internet, everyone? It's coming from my second phone right here, which looks filthy right now. Oh my goodness. Oh, good. So let me know if there's any issues with the stream. All right. So, as you can see, the title of the live, this was sporadic. I did not plan this. I just was going through some of the things that I have to handle and deal with, and I was like, you know what? I should tell this story because some might appreciate it, you know. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring it closer too. Let's bring it closer too. There we go. Okay, that looks pretty good. This phone internet is coming from here. Not too bad. We have wind to deal with. Wind, fire, water, heart. As your powers combine. Yes, you are, Richard. So let's thank some people for being here before we get started. Thank you for joining Arvy, Richard, Dawn, Karen, Bonnie, Joanne, the Rod Squad, Josie, and for those that haven't made their presence known. Woo, it's kind of chilly. Let me grab my jacket. Hold on one second. Comfort is everything. I'm all about being comfortable. So, let's get into this story. And then as soon as I get halfway through the story or 75% through the story, I'm going to go check the comments and we're going to get into it. So, this is my experience of the pandemic. Now, here's a disclaimer. In no way am I doing this for pity. Am I doing this for you to feel sorry for me? I do understand that everyone has their own problems. So just because I have problems don't mean the next person doesn't have any. And I'm not saying that my problems are greater than anyone. Everyone has a story. And I'm always going to say that. I'm always going to make that clear. Everyone has a story. Okay. And I just wanted to share mine. So the pandemic started about March 2020 is when it really got serious. And at the time, you know, I'm in the entertainment industry, and I've been in the entertainment industry for 5 years up to that point. And my income was solely based on singing and being able to gig. So it went from, when it started getting serious, it went from, okay, we had a few shows canceled, but we good. We still have a few things this week. But the entertainment company's like, save your chips because it could get ugly. It's looking like it's going to get ugly. And all that translates to is income. And every date that's on my calendar as an artist, as an entertainer, every date on my calendar is a paycheck. That lets me know, okay, today is May, so May, June. So in June, I have this show. So let me go see when my bills are going to fall so I know what's going to be paid and what's not going to be paid, or what I might have to pay a week prior to that bill coming due. So every time a show cancellation happens, you know, you have to go look at the finances and revisit things. So that week, I remember the week that we got notice that, hey, this might get ugly. So the money you're making now, hopefully you saved, and I didn't, because I always invest in my business. I had a clothing line, Hunt Tears, which I invested heavily in. The name, the trademarks, the actual materials, the models that I was hiring, the photography work that I was getting done, buying equipment, studio equipment, because people kept denying me to work in their studio. If they wasn't denying me, the prices was too high. So I said, you know what? I'm going to pay for courses and learn how to run my own studio and record my own songs, which is what I did, which is why I have 2,500 songs written as of today. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry. I'm just gonna stay positive and keep going. At that time, I think I was renting out a room for share. If you know anything about me, little backstory. I don't personally believe in paying bills. When I say bills, that means rent, it means light bill, water bill, car note, insurance. I don't believe in paying those things until my income can satisfy those things. And here's what I mean, because a lot of people get confused when I say that, and it sounds like I'm a little bit of a pain for society. What I mean is living a dead end, working at a dead end job, which is what I've done. When I was working in the workforce, I was working a dead end job. It was paying pennies. It was paying literally. I could barely get by. I couldn't afford child support, my own stability, and to come out of the rat race. So it was a pain. And what made it a pain was not the paycheck. It's what I had to do for that paycheck. I had to do something that I really didn't like, for one. For two, the money would get taken by child support before I get it. And after child support take what it takes, I couldn't afford rent. I couldn't afford having a car note. I couldn't afford a stable life. And I hate going to the job every day. So it was like this cycle of, I just hate my life. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I got to break the cycle. I got to climb the corporate ladder. I did. Went to the top of the ladder, making very good money. And guess what? I didn't have the time. So now I have the money, but I don't have the time to spend it. I don't have the time to enjoy it. So even though I have the money, I replace that money with my time. And that got irritating after 8 years. So I was like, you know what? Somebody can sing peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat on the radio station and pay all their bills. I want that. So I can do what I want to do and spend the time that I want to spend with my family, because money kept me away from my children. You know, I had to go out and provide. And being that they wasn't in the same household, and I felt like I couldn't make an honorable wage in my city due to racism or whatever I dealt with systematically, I was like, you know what, I got to break this cycle and figure it out. So my idea was to start a business. Many businesses failed. I've had a lot of businesses that failed. I wasn't good at it. But after the corporate world experience, I learned a lot of traits. I learned a lot of principles. I learned a lot of things that made me say, you know what, I can do this. So once I determined to become a singer, I became a singer. And I believe if you are generating income in a way that makes you happy, in a way that makes you feel like you're providing for society, and you're comfortable with doing that over and over and over again, whatever that income you're receiving should give you a stable life, a stable lifestyle, and give you the time freedom that you need while providing stability at the same time. So I was going to create that through music. So I quit my job, worked my butt off to become a singer, but I had to get founded. Obviously, that part of the story is in my book, my new book that's coming out soon. So fast forward, now we're in a pandemic and all the income is gone. I don't use my income from the band to pay for stability. I'm not paying rent, because if Blonde was to end tomorrow, which pandemic, perfect example, if the Blonde was to end tomorrow, the stability that I have paying rent is gone. I'm back on the streets and I'm not with this opportunity anymore. I'm back at square zero. So my idea was, don't use your funds. Figure out how to reduce your overhead, which is your stability costs, rent, insurance, car note, etc. Figure out how I can reduce my income and increase my income and reduce my expenses every month, and use the money that I'm making extra, one, to pay child support to stay in compliance, and two, to invest in things that in the future would yield profit. You know what I mean? Build businesses, clothing line, write a book, whatever you got to do, sell music, whatever you got to do, you need a business. And when you are successful creating that income by investing in yourself, you're no longer depending on an income from a job or an opportunity, etc. You're depending on the residual or the profits or the yield that are paying out from your business. And whether that's passive or whether you actively got to work from it, that is the stability that you're going to receive from being successful at those businesses. So that's why I don't spend my money on rent and all that other stuff. So since I don't pay rent, I rent rooms for cheap. I'll sleep in a truck if I have to. I'll sleep in a tent if I have to. So, make a long story short, getting back to the pandemic. So, we have to mind our income and start. If we have money saved, we'll be all right. It's a cushion. But if you don't have any money saved, you got to start locking down what you have and start paying attention to your spendings. We got that warning a week. Maybe 3 days later, everything was canceled. That means all the money that I'm generating, and usually we get booked out a year, 2 years in advance. All those dates are now gone. So all that income, wherever I was staying, immediately is gone. So immediately in that situation, luckily for me, I was in a relationship in the early part of the pandemic, in like the first month. But I'm pretty sure, like mine and many others, pandemic caused a lot of financial stress on relationships. So with that, I'm not the type of person that's gonna eat and sleep off you. I'm not gonna take advantage of you. I'm not gonna use you. I prefer to sleep in the streets because I'm used to it. I've spent 65% of my adulthood homeless. So I know how to survive in the streets. I know how to be homeless. I know how to get out there and get through a week. I know how to get through a month. I know how to do that. So once the relationship ended, the first month of the pandemic and income is gone, first thing I did, I was like, you know what? Well, we're not working. Obviously, you have a problem with me. I have a problem with you. Let's separate. We go our separate ways. Immediately, I was in the street. This is where the story begins. So now, no income, no place to go. I immediately knew what to do. As soon as I was homeless, I didn't have nowhere to go. I knew I needed storage space. So I did research because I keep a laptop with me, homeless or not. I keep a laptop with me. I used my laptop and to find a storage unit, but was close to a gym. It had to be close to a gym because I could shower at a gym. So if the storage is close to the gym, I have my property at storage, and I can go across the street a mile, however close the gym is, to take a shower to change out every day. However, I had to figure out where I'm going to stay situation. I have no family in Orlando. I have no family here whatsoever. All of my family is 2 hours away in Jacksonville, and I don't want to leech off nobody, so I wasn't going to go back to Jacksonville. Definitely not with everyone with this fear of, oh wow, COVID, we have to stay in. So if we go out or if anyone come in, we have to protect ourselves. So even though I was homeless in Orlando, when it comes to shelter, it wasn't even it the thought crossed my mind to find someone to stay with, but then think about it. You're bunkered into your home. Imagine someone calling you saying, hey, I'm homeless, it's the pandemic, I need a place to stay. If you remember the initial fear at the beginning of this pandemic when everything was shut down, and you know from your own experience what I mean when I say everything is shut down, the initial fear of how real this was, imagine all of that fear and someone saying, I want to come to your home. No! Even though it kind of puts you in a bind because if you love and care for them, you'll take the risk. I didn't want anyone to take the risk. I didn't want to put more pressure on someone's household. So I was faced with the decision to stay in the streets. And that's what I did. So I was like, all right, if I got to do this, I'm going to do it. So did some research, found the storage unit, spent the last to get the storage to pay for my gym membership. As soon as I paid for the gym membership, gym shut down. There's no showers. So at least I could go to storage. Storage was all I had. I would not risk losing my lease with the storage unit because I have a lot of property that I want to keep and maintain. I don't want to, because you violate the lease. I read through the lease to make sure you violate the lease if you're caught sleeping in the unit, and it's an indoor establishment, so it's not outdoor storage unit. So it's indoors, air conditioned. So being that I didn't want to violate my lease and having to find a place to move all of that property with no money, I wouldn't dare sleep inside the unit. So after a little research, I was like, why don't I get a tent and just find a place to sleep? So I found a nice field, wasn't too far from the LA Fitness that where I used to shower, and it wasn't far. And the storage and the LA Fitness is side by side, literally a few feet away from each other. So at night, well, let me get to the part of shelter. So I decided after research to get a tent. Went to Walmart, 25 tent, water resistant. There is a huge difference between waterproof and water resistance. Oh, how do I know? Through experience. Because if you remember March, April and May, that was some of the most rainiest times in 2020. It was so, and if you don't know, I will tell you, it was so rainy. So I know the difference between waterproof and water resistant. Is water resistant up to a certain point, and when that threshold is broken, there's no more resistance. So anyway, so I go to Walmart, get a tent for $25, water resistant, nice size. I tried to find something darker so that I can I can camp, because anytime I camp, I don't want anyone to know I'm there, because I don't want to run the risk of someone trying to rob me, or if they know I'm there, they can have intentions. So if you don't know I'm there, there's no intentions that are possible threats I have to guard myself from. So with this in mind, I was like, you know what? Let me just find a good place. Found a good place, stayed in there. Now here's the risk I ran. People, the way the roadway is for where I was camping in this big old wide field, people from the apartment complex on the same side of the street that the property was that I was sleeping on, which was just a big open field. They didn't want to go to the main road, make a U-turn, go to the light, wait for the light change to come, make the U-turn and go into the gas station. So they would drive their car through the fields. So I was always at risk of being ran over by trucks, because usually it's only trucks that's gonna have 4x4 to get through there. So every night it was a risk of, when I heard a car, I had to jump up and make sure, hey, watch out, don't hit me. But so that was the risk, one of the risks I ran. A lot of times, anytime the sun come up, I have to pack it up and have to go take my camping material to storage. Every morning that camping material was drenched. It was so wet. I went a little bit without income because I had food. I always kept food in storage in case of emergency. That food lasted about a good 3 weeks. I ate straight noodles for 3 weeks. When it comes to the bathroom, everything is closed. I couldn't go inside nowhere. So I stayed outside literally for maybe a good 2 months, because establishments wasn't allowing you to come in. And usually when I'm homeless, I always want to be homeless and camp somewhere near an establishment that stays open for 24 hours. Because of course, number one can be done outside in the wilderness. I'm a guy. But when you got to do number two, I haven't reached the point where I eat out of trash cans type of homelessness. I haven't reached the point where I don't take showers when I'm in the homeless circumstance, and I do not take number two outside and wipe with the leaves or with toilet paper. I don't do that. I actually go to a restroom. So I always find a 24-hour establishment adjacent to wherever I'm hunkering, so that if there's a stomach emergency in the middle of the night, I have a place that I can go. Well, this option was gone. I couldn't go into no establishment to get food. It has to be drive-through. And if it wasn't drive-through, there was really no options. Grocery stores was limited to what I as to what I could get at the time. But I had to, usually when I'm homeless, I depend on income as far as a way of singing for money, or I ask for money, and that was limited because no one wanted to be approached. So it's easy for people that don't want to be panhandled. When a panhandle approached them, it's easy. Hey, COVID. So they don't even want to hear what you got to say. COVID. You know how it is when someone that's homeless approach you panhandling. You usually got to deal with the, oh, can I? I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have cash. I'm sorry. That's usually an objection. Now it's the easy objection. Hey, don't come near me. Don't come near me. They stop that presentation right at the door. There's no introduction because COVID. Don't approach me. And if you try to talk from a distance, they'll try to not connect with you. I can't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm busy. Sorry. Next time. So no income, no bathroom, can't go in to get food. Food costs was crazy. Even usually when everything is open, if I did go to a grocery store, I can go to a gas station and warm it up. That was very difficult. So slept in the tent for maybe a nice 2 months. Had to wake up in the middle of the day, nowhere to go. Had the police call on me throughout the day for, like, there was this motor place that I would go to. I have a chair that I usually take with me everywhere I go, and I sit in that chair like at a corner, somewhere where it's relaxed and comfortable. The reason it's good to have a portable chair, because stationary chairs are usually in a place that's not convenient. So it's convenient for whoever wants to sit down because they're supposed to be there. But when you're just there because there's nowhere to go because you're homeless, and you have to keep this in mind. Usually when people are homeless, they're in the outdoors 24/7. Usually when they get to go inside Starbucks, sit outside a gas station, or they'll go in a grocery store and maybe use the bathroom, and they take that time to take off their shoes. Or but there's no living room, there's nowhere to relax, there's nowhere to lounge. It's just always outside. So when you see homeless, and they're in the wilderness, and they're in the wilderness all the time, they don't get the pleasure of sitting down watching TV in air conditioned room controlled temperatures. That it's just not something that exists. So no restrooms, food is difficult out in the wilderness. Oh, and when it rains, oh my gosh, a rainy day for a homeless person is one of the worst days you got to deal with, because you got to protect your feet from getting wet, because if they get wet, they're gonna do the bubble up crack thing, and it burns very, very badly. And being that you're outside, it's not really places to take off your shoes. So and I remember the first time I was homeless, I left my shoes on for like 2 or 3 weeks. After I got out of my homeless circumstances, it took 6 months to get the smell out of my feet. And the burning, I don't know what the burning is caused by. Like if you leave your shoes on for a really long time, it's like, I guess it's the fungus. It burns. I don't know. But I know I learned from the first time being homeless, always take your shoes off when you're sleeping and put yourself in a position where you can. So yeah, so I dealt with that for like 2 or 3 months, and after panhandling wasn't working, food was going. I said, all right, Roderick, no income, panhandling ain't working, food is going. Now what? Well, when I worked with the band, when I find something I seriously want to invest in because I think it'll have financial gain, and I know my income won't support it because I'm using it for stability, I'll pick up extra income to compensate or to absorb some of the costs. Like may want to do Amazon and do some internet stuff on Amazon, may want to do commercial real estate, may want to take a course, whatever the case may be. You want to do something extra and invest in it to try to get financial gain from it. You need the income, and if your primary income can't support that, I had to get a job. So being that that was something I always do, and with Blonde, we have dates that we have to meet, and we have to be available on those dates. So it's very limited as to what type of jobs I can get. So when things were all in well, I would just go to a temporary agency where they give you temp work, where you get paid the same day. And it's some more professional temp agencies where you work for 90 days. After you pass the probationary period, they actually hire you on. But you tell the agency what days you can work, and if that's something that their client is allowing them to give you the discretion to do so, then you can work on your schedule with the agency. Just tell them the days you can work and the days you can't. So I have a lot of affiliations with companies like that in Orlando. So I remember I called my sister. I didn't tell her my circumstance because anytime I'm homeless or I'm going through my situation, I don't tell anybody. I don't share with anybody, oh, I'm homeless, or I'm sleeping in a tent, or oh, I'm sleeping in a trunk. I keep it to myself because I don't want to put the pressure on their heart to say, no, I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. Won't you come stay with me? And I'm going to turn them down. So I don't put them in that circumstance. I keep it to myself. So I called my sister and I was like, hey, how serious you think this COVID thing is? And we talked about it for a long time. And that's another thing. Before I get into this, let me backtrack a little bit. Imagine going through everything that I went through with the fear that COVID as a society was putting on us. Like the fear of, oh, if I catch this thing, I'm going. I had to, being that I was exposed, I was heavily exposed. There was no domain that I can go take possession of and protect myself. I'm just in the elements. I'm exposed to this. I had to make up my mind, Roderick. Everything's shut down. You have nowhere to go. Even if you did try to find a few places to go, you are at risk of taking it to them. You see what I'm saying? By if they're protected and you're coming from the wilderness and your circumstances, you could potentially bring it to them. So that wasn't the option. But imagine the fear of saying, wow, I'm exposed to this thing. It's nowhere for me to run from this. Everyone is home. Everyone's with their families. Everyone is experiencing each other's and staying safe. And I'm literally, my butt is literally out here. So what did I do? I went in my head. I sat down. It took a long time to really convince myself. I said, look, Roderick, you're exposed to this. You have to survive. You've created a plan strategically. You're surviving, you're working. You're surviving and it's working. You're living another day. It might not be favorable, but you're here. Yes, you're exposed to it. You have to understand if this is going to get you, it's going to get you. Don't live in fear. Don't be out here afraid. Don't be out here. You have to do what you can do. And you can't do what you can't do. So I had to tell myself, hey, look, this is how I'm going out. This is how I'm going out. But I'm not about to go out afraid. So I had to make up my mind that I'm exposed to this. And if it's meant to take me out, it's going to take me out. So with that mindset being built, and I had all this time to myself to deal with this, it took about 2 or 3 days before I accepted the fact that I'm exposed to it. If it's gonna get me, it's gonna get me. It is what it is. And it was a lot to deal with, but I accepted it. And once I accepted it, it was like, hey, I had a few days where I was afraid, where I was like, oh my God, am I breathing funny? Oh my gosh, am I? And I was like, Roger, remember to talk with the doctor when you're 18. For those of you that remember that story, don't have a panic attack because you're afraid. If it's gonna be, it's gonna be. Deal with it when it comes. Right now, this is not it. Even if it is, it's not enough to where you can't survive. You're still here, you're still walking, you're still breathing, you still have options for today. You still have things to do today. Child support was still on my butt about payments that I couldn't pay. And I had no idea how to do it. I couldn't get internet anywhere because Starbucks, not only would they close their doors, they turned off the internet so they wouldn't entice people to come. So no internet access, phone data is going because I'm using my phone for everything. I didn't get any stimulus checks, not one. I didn't get not one stimulus check the entire time. The only form of a stimulus that I got was was when I filed taxes so that I can try to get the one here in 2021, which I didn't get that either. Everybody, and it was so painful when when the band was getting updates and people was like, yeah, I'm getting, I finally qualified for this and I qualified for that, and they getting all this money. I'm like, man, this sucks. Like, why me? Like, why is everybody in a safe place? They're home. They don't get me wrong. Everybody has their own problems, but I'm like, why am I not getting a $2,000 check or back pay for $10,000? I'm like, this freaking sucks, man. And I got denied so many times. I got denied so many times. Like, you know what? Screw it. I don't need no stimulus. This is my stimulus. I'll figure it out. But it was so hurtful because that would have made my life so much easier. But it never happened. But anyway, so talking to my sister on the phone, I'm like, how bad is this how bad is this COVID thing? Like, are people really dying, or is that just speculation, or what's happening? She was like, why? Because I'm like, I need money. Like, I'm really down on my last. She was like, I can say, no, don't send me nothing because I'm willing to work. I'll figure this out. Like, you sure you could? Yes. I just need to know how much of a risk I am taking right now because I need to go work somewhere. And I know if I make a phone call, I'll have a job because I've been with this company for a very, very long time, about 5 years. So I know I can get income. The question is, when I go work at these places, is what I'm faced with, is it real? How big of a risk, how big of a threat? It's just like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You gotta do what you gotta do. Regardless of the risk, if you are in XYZ situation, you gotta do what you gotta do and you gotta suck it up. Because what are your options if you don't go to work? And I was like, yeah, you're right. So she convinced me. So got off the phone with her. I started getting busy, started making calls. And I called the agency and it was like, we have one job that exists right now. And I was like, where is it? Oh, it's in, where was it? It was in, it starts with an A. Forgot the name of it, but it was literally 2 cities away. I kid you not, from where my shelter was, well, my so-called shelter, from where my shelter was, where my housing was, where I could sleep, it was 2 cities away. And they was like, I'm like, that's all you got? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, I can't do that. I'm in XYZ. It was like, wow, that'll be a long drive. It's like, I'm not driving. I'm on a bike. My license is suspended. I can't drive anywhere. If I drive, I'm going under the jail. It was like, and you on the bike? Like, yeah, it'll probably take you this is probably like 50, 60 miles away. I'm like, wow. All right, whatever. So I let that go. Call other agencies. We have nothing. There's nobody working. Everything is shut down. Wow, so I'm probably gonna have to take the only job that's available. I'm like, what am I doing anyway? If I work there, at least I'm in an establishment, at least I'm in a building, and all I gotta do is spend all my time there. Like if they offer 15 hours, work all 15 hours, because where I'm gonna go once the day is over? Back in the street, back in the wilderness. I like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. I was like, all right, send me the information. She was like, is this the person that said he was riding a bike? Like, yeah. Like, I just Googled it. That's like a if you're on a bike, that's like a 10-hour bike ride. It's like, I'm gonna have to do it. I don't have no other option. She's like, wow, are you sure you're gonna be able to do it? It's like, yeah. All right, I signed. Don't do it today. Get your rest because you're gonna need it if you're gonna ride that far. I was like, I don't have a choice. So I did it. Took the job. Um, Tried the best to get some sleep that night, but I'm programmed to. I was trying to shift my sleeping pattern from going to sleep at 6 a.m. for work because with the entertainment industry, I usually go to bed about 6 a.m. So I have to wake up with that tent by sunup because I don't want no one to know that I'm sleeping there because they can call the police and they can put me on trespass and tell me not to come there. Then I got to find a new shelter. And you know how it is once you get comfortable. When you're comfortable, you don't want to go nowhere. So I'm like, wow, I got to get up at sun. When sun is up, I got to get up. So I tried to make sure I get to bed by like 7 or 8 p.m. during the pandemic. But the problem is I couldn't sleep. So I'd be up to about 4 or 5, go to sleep for an hour and get up. So I wasn't getting any sleep. So I tried to get sleep for this, for the job, didn't get none. So since I didn't get none, I got on the bike and started riding early. It was a 10-hour bike ride. 10 hours. Got there after riding 10 hours and had to work another 10 hours. Literally, it was a 12-hour shift. Sorry, worked 12 hours. Horrible experience. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. And when I say I had rain gear because I bought rain gear, so when it rains, I had my tent, I had the bike, I had my chair. I rode the 10 hours. Here's another part of that story. When I got there, when I was working with Blonde before the pandemic, I said, just in case anything ever happens, I want something to fall back on. And I don't want to, because I worked at FedEx picking up boxes. I worked at Amazon picking up boxes. And while I was doing it, I'm like, this is hard work for extra income when I'm not on stage. So let me go get a tow truck. I mean, what they call it? A forklift license, forklift certification. So if I do have to work, at least the truck does all the work. Because I leave them FedEx, they work the heck out you. Loading trucks by yourself. Working at Amazon, it was pretty much easier, but it was a lot of drama on the inside. But with a forklift certification, I was picking up boxes. So before the pandemic, I said, I'm going to spend whatever I got to spend to get this forklift certification. Did it. So now it's the pandemic. I'm working at this place. I'm like, hey, what do I need to do to get on the forklift? Because I know you pay more, and my situation are not favorable right now. I don't want to explain the circumstances. I don't want no pity. But I do want the extra pay, and I'm willing to do it. It's like, look, there's a long list of people that's been here for 2 years that's not getting on the forklift. I'm like, well, what do I have to do? I have the certification. I went to school for it. It was like, that don't mean nothing. We still have to certify it. Man, do you know that man, he told me after I kept bothering him, because when I want something, I go for it. And I kept bothering him. He was like, dude, no, just give me time. And after enough time, I'll get you on it. I'll get you on it. Just trust me. And I've asked other people, like, what did it take to get on the forklift? It was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been trying to get on. Everybody I was asking for information that I think had no ties to a forklift was waiting. So I'm like, man, it's like 10 people waiting in line, and they've been here for like 2 years and still haven't got it. So I was like, who's the boss here? I was like, that guy right there. Well, he's never here. I went and talked to him. I was like, hey, this is my circumstance, what I'm trying to do. I know more pay will help me out. I rode 10 hours to get here. I'm sleeping in the tent. I was wondering if you can help me out. He was like, look, this is what I'm going to do for you. You can take the forklift certification tomorrow. And if you don't pass it, I'll get you trained. I'm like, thank God. I'm like, I had to go over the guy's head, but I didn't know that it was like it was weird the way the relationships work with the forklift operators in there. They had like this community, and the guy that I went to was outside. He was over them, but he doesn't oversee it. He's not there to manage it on site. Like he's over it, but he's never there. So they run it, even though he runs it because he's never there. So I went to him, and he got me. He was like, so when it was time to take the, I was like, hey, the boss said I could take my certification today to see if I can pass the test, and if I can't pass it, he was going to get you to train me. He was like, what? You went over my head? I'm like, yeah, because I really need this, man. I'm in a bad way right now, and it's an extra $3. I need it. Like, nah. And a lady, oh, well, I ain't gonna get there. It's somebody that I still connect with that remembers this story by heart. She can vouch for me. But he was like, you went over my head? He was like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that. He was like, hey, call on the radio and ask Jared if he said he can certify today. He was like, yeah. Oh, so you went over my head? And he leaned in, he said, you ain't never gonna get on the forklift here. And I was like, bro, all I'm trying to do is like, you went over my head though. I'm like, it's not that. I just want to, I'm trying to do everything possible to get on the forklift. I really need it. He was like, I don't care what your circumstances are. I was like, wow. So, long story short, they didn't let me on the forklift. I was stuck at the job. I would ride 10 hours, and I eventually got tired of riding 10 hours to the job. So I found a place behind McDonald's where I could set up my tent. So I tied the tent to the back of my bike. So if I ever got sleepy, I'm so glad I did that. So what I would do, eventually I would just stay out there for a week in the tent, and on my off days I would ride the bike 10 hours to get back to the storage unit. However, one day that tire popped, and that 10-hour bike ride turned into a 16-hour walk with a bike. Man, no buses, no places where I can stop and use the restroom. Couldn't get food. It was nothing. Child support started taking that money that I was getting from there. Child support was taking it, leaving me with barely anything. I literally felt helpless. I just felt so bad in that moment. But I was like, you know what, Roderick, it's gonna pass. You're gonna get over it. You're gonna get through it, and I did. So after I got tired of that process, I got desperate, and I was like, you know what? Let me call my family and ask them if it's any work there, because I know I can get shelter at the family. And I was at that point where I'm just tired, man. I don't want to give up. I'm just tired. I just wanted to be around family. I just wanted to feel some love. So I called my sister and told her the situation, and she was like, "Yeah, you could come here. You come here. The car out there, you can have that. You say you're getting your license back, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I'm working on." She's like, "Yeah, you can come here." It's like, "You know anything higher?" It's like, "Nah." All of a sudden, my cousin like, "Cuz I got a job in the construction industry, and we working. Despite everything that's going on, we working. I can get you on." I'm like, "You sure?" He's like, "Yeah." "How fast can you get there?" I said, "I'll be there tomorrow." That's exactly what I did. Got paid the little money that I had, paid Greyhound, put all my stuff in storage, took what I needed back to Jacksonville. Got to Jacksonville, job wasn't available. So I was homeless. No, well, I wouldn't say homeless. I was living with my family, with my mother to be exact, for a while, with no income for like 2 weeks. But I was going everywhere. I was trying to. I did my thing trying to find income. And after 2 months of being in that, no, sorry, 2 or 3 weeks of being in that situation, my cousin finally called me. He was like, "Cuz, the guy's ready to hire you. Come on out here." Now, here's the thing. Their job was in Tallahassee. We lived in Jacksonville. So I had to go all the way to Tallahassee for this job. So I had to ride with them to go apply for the job. And I had to stick around in Tallahassee all day after I applied and wait around and wait around. And finally, 2 weeks it took them to finally bring me on, got me on, start working there. And yeah, I did that, going back and forth to Tallahassee. And guess what? Guess what? I actually got to work on a forklift. And the forklift was 20 times bigger than the forklift I would have worked in the warehouse. 20 times bigger. And it was easier. And the pay was much higher. So looking back, remember Steve Jobs said, you can't connect the dots looking forward, but you can connect the dots looking backwards. Looking back, me being patient through that forklift thing a better opportunity was awaiting me. And if I'd have got that forklift opportunity in the warehouse, the pay would have been lower and the equipment was smaller. Right now, if I wanted to go get in a forklift, my cousin has a job for me right now in, I think, Missouri for $38 an hour with that same equipment that I got training on and certified on. Bigger, much more dangerous, and it weighs, I think, 12 tons, whatever the case may be. But anyway, the point is, I stayed positive, and look what the outcome was. So anyway, so eventually everything started getting back on track. I worked there long enough, and I got tired of going back and forth to Jacksonville and paying family to for the drive. So eventually I was like, you know what? It's cheaper for me to sleep homeless in Tallahassee until the next day for the job. So my cousin like, Cub, so you mean to tell me to save a few dollars, like $30, $40 in transportation and paying us to come to Tallahassee every day, you rather stay and live in Tallahassee homeless at night and come back to the job the next day versus just riding back to the house? And like, yeah, that's what I prefer, because it's all about saving the money for what your plans are, because I'm so used to it being taken or not being offered. Everything I work for, I have to invest it. I have to put it in something for a better future. And the problem with people that don't want to invest are, and this is no judgment for those that wish to do this, that's your business. But me personally, I don't need gratification for what I'm investing in today. I understand in the future it will pay me. It will have its rewards in the future. I'm not going to get it today, like buying equipment for to record music, or buying equipment so I can get videos, or paying for photography so my website can look professional, or so I can get equipment to perform in Walmart. No, it's not going to benefit me at the time when I need to pay for stability or I need to pay for transportation. It's not going to help me when I spend that money on that. But I expect it to yield something in the future. I don't need instant gratification. And usually the principle is broke people, if they don't get something right then, they won't make the trade. I'm willing to risk it all because I know I can win. I know my story. It is going to help people. I know I'm going to be able to speak to people when I am successful. And you know how you look at how most people look at successful people. They're like, oh, it's easy for you to say you're rich or you're wealthy. No, I heard Kobe say, all the people see is what happened when the lights are on in the gym. They don't see what I did when the gym lights were off. So that means everything building up to that lifestyle is what a lot of people don't see, and a lot of people don't remember. A lot of people don't know. That's why I'm sharing my story. That's why I want you to know what I'm doing. That's why I want you to know what I'm experiencing. And I'm willing to take those sacrifices, because there are going to be people that want something out of life, and they're going to want to know how to get after it. And it's going to take, and here's my motto: if you don't take the risk in the early stages of your life, you're going to have all these risks in the opposite end of your life. So I'd rather take the risk now and live better later than not take the risk now, have everything easy, and deal with the risk of not trying to become more later. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I'm gonna take my instant gratification now, but as soon as I lose my job, everything that kept me stable is gone. These are the risks. Versus taking all the risks now to create a business that's profitable, and not being able to have that stability, not being able to have that peace of mind or that security. But in the future, I hope to have something great and big, and all I want to do is help people. And all I want to do is put people in winning positions. All I want to do is be the light for people, and to brighten their light, and to take their gifts, and so they can take it to another level and give the world what they can give the world. I want people to discover their truest potential. This is why my life and my story is on a platform. This is why my book is sharing my experience, because I'm using my life to increase your light. That's my hope. That's my wish. And everything that I'm going through is for a purpose. I'm enduring this because I know what my story can do. I know the impact. I know the power. And when I'm in position to help people, I'm going to do it, because this is what it's all about. At some point, this is no longer for me. I know my children are watching. I don't want to just be ranting, oh, you got to do this, you got to be this. Sometimes people need to see an example. They want to see what it looks like to be a winner. They want to see what it looks like to take sacrifices, to take risks, or to take something on the chin and keep going. You know what I mean? So That's my pandemic experience, and that is the truth. I have video documentation, I have photos, I have all the proof that is necessary to prove that my story is valid. I would not lie to anyone about my story. Even with the story that's in my book about how I became a professional singer and how I gave up working to hit the streets as a homeless man to be discovered as a singer. That story is in my book. None of that is a lie. I have all the video. If you haven't been over to my video diary of Roderick King, if you haven't been over that YouTube page, I started vlogging my experience so that because I knew it was going to become a book. I knew I was going to tell my story. I knew once I'm successful, people need to know what I've been through so that they can see it doesn't matter where you start from. You can do something with your life. You can be somebody. It's going to take something. You're going to have to give something. Timing is investment, just like currency is an investment. You have to invest that time. You have to, you can't consider who in this world can consider themselves strong if they haven't endured some type of resistance. Every person, every bodybuilder with all these big old muscles, they had to continuously rep rejection. They had to rep resistance. They had to rep weight that was heavier than what their body was able to to rep. I think you get what I'm saying. So I've been talking a while. So let's see what we have in the comments. I don't even know if this thing is still recording. Let's see. Oh, it's still live. We're still live. Now, I don't know if this recorded everything. I don't know if it's been buffering. I literally haven't looked at these comments at all. So let's go through some of the comments. Come on. Come on. Turn around. It's good to see everyone is still here. Thank you. So before we go anywhere, I want to say this. For all those that stayed and listened, thank you. Thank you for listening to the story. I don't know what it's like to be a viewer, to hear this, or to sit and have to listen to someone talk about, oh me. But I thank you for listening, for everything that it is. I appreciate you. So I wanted to start off there. So, working fine, good. Thank you, Grandma Brooke. I was worried. I was so into the story. I didn't even know if it was still recording, but it's good that it was. Good. Thank you. I stopped the cycle of abuse. I show everyone love to show to love to everyone in my life. Good. That's a good thing. Can't forget the cookies. So that's good. You never gave up, young. Kudos to you. God is awesome. Thank you so much, Richard. And you are right. God is good. And all the time, God is good. You were in my neighborhood, dude. Yes. Homeless. Sleeping. Ooh, you know where I would sleep? When the construction, I probably shouldn't say this because I think it's against the law. When the construction site closed, I would sleep there at night. Wow, you work for a forklift company. That's pretty cool. Thanks for joining the live, Nancy. I thank you for tuning in. I know you probably left. I popped to put in talk with my baby girl. Watch the video of him and that video of me and that forklift was the process. See, that's why I'm glad. People say, why you always put your business out there? Why you always posting videos of this? Because when my story come out, I want to show proof. I want to show evidence. I want people to have confidence that this is the real story, because when it's believable, it's impactful and it is the truth. And I want evidence of that. So yeah, I do have video of me on that forklift and I was learning. That man asked me, have you ever had forklift experience on this type of machine before? Yes, I have this. I didn't have the certification or nothing. I got on that thing and on break, I would learn how to use that equipment on break when nobody was around. And eventually I built my confidence and started working a job site. I started putting in some serious work. Let's see. But yeah, so that's the story. That's everything. Cole was right about that. No one knows. Exactly. That's why it's important for people who are successful to leave little breadcrumbs of what they're going through. Leave pictures, save videos, because when you actually become a success, people, it helps people to fall into the story because they can see proof, they can see evidence. They don't have to have doubt, no reasonable doubts that did they really go through that. I see just saying that. I know what it's like to wake up in a freezing cold. I know what it's like to wake up soaking wet from the rain. Anyway, but yeah, that was the story. Let's see. Thank you for sharing intimate personal experiences with us. Thank you for listening. I seriously appreciate you all listening. I want to know what is happening in your life now and in the future. Well, now things are stable with the band. I'm still using my primary income for the channel, using it for the book. I'm using it to create this music. The music is kind of still just about out of my range of what I can afford. So I put together this strategy where if I get the book out first and I could generate some sales on that, I can use that and start investing into the music because I know where to go. I know what the legalities is as far as paying to get it put out professionally, legally, protected, and good quality. I just have to pay the price, the dollar amount. So the book is going to support that. Um, I still don't use my income. Oh, I thought that was one of my band members. I still don't use it for stability. I just invest into the business because I think the business in the future will 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 help me to, what's the word? I'll recoup everything once one of my businesses are successful, or all of them are, when the music break out, whatever the case may be. I know I've studied commercial real estate for 2 years because I know once the book, the music, and all that stuff is successful, I'm gonna use that income to invest in commercial real estate. I want to own apartment complexes, 100 units or better, and I'm gonna create syndications in order to acquire those properties, to take ownerships, and I'll have management companies running them, and I just oversee the management companies and the property myself. I'll oversee the people that are in charge, but I collect a nice income from that. So and it'll be passive. Of course, it'll require me to do some work. I'm not opposed to that, but the income that you can generate from owning apartment complexes is significant, and it's not that difficult. So I've spent a lot of money to learn everything that I learned about commercial real estate with a lot of different courses. And I'm working on partnering with Peter Harris. He's one of the co-writers of what's the name of that book? Um, Commercial Real Estate Investing for Dummies. He's the co-author of that book. I'm working on partnering with him on my first few deals, and I want to explain the contract, but I think for legal purposes, I'm not going to do that. But I'm definitely working on that partnership. Um, no, what, Grandma Brooke? But yeah, I am. So commercial real estate is the next tier. So after I'm successful with the music and the books and whatever, the clothing line, after I'm successful generating passive income with those means of income, I'm going to start working on investing into my first property. Well, yeah, the music is first, but the book is going to pay for the music. The music is going to give me a platform where I'll be making an income off the music, and obviously, hopefully, my idea is touring, um, winning a few Grammys, residual income that I'm collecting on the music that I've released, getting my music put into commercials, films, gaming systems, television, etc. You know, the music industry. The music industry is first. It's just stepping stones to pay for good quality. And my first step is getting that book out, using income generated from that to invest into the music. And then the music, what you can expect from the music is going to be good. The quality is going to be good. I'm writing a lot of songs, but I also am collaborating with songwriters because I want to give you the best, and I don't want all my sound to be the same. So yeah. I wish I had the money to save my brother from the drug overdose. Oh, no worries. He's in a better place now, that's for sure. Are you married? I am not, Jennifer. You are a good man. I'm sure you will be great in whatever you try. Thank you, Juanita. I seriously appreciate you. I have no doubt you'll do it. Well, that's the goal. And it's like I always say, with you all in my corner, it's not much I can't accomplish. You know, you give me a lot of matter of fact. Um, I'm gonna show you something. A lot of you that follow me on Instagram and stuff, you already know this, but those that don't follow me on social media, I'm gonna show you this. I have created. Let's see if you can see it first. I have created about 200 of these. Local singer, over 1 million views. YouTube search Roger King. I spent probably. I invested in myself. Bought a lot of these boards from Dollar Tree, and I have to put a blade on it, cut it here, cut it underneath so the black isn't there, and I'm putting these on stakes, and I'm finding major intersections around Orlando, and I'm posting these things everywhere. I'm driving as much traffic to my YouTube channel as I possibly can, and I don't just depend on online opportunities to market. I'm also creating my own methods as well. So I'm trying to get much more aggressive because the time is now. So I'm doing everything in my power to put myself in a position to win. And you being here just gives me the confidence. It gives me the love and the support that I love and appreciate. So thank you for everybody that's on this journey with me. And I can't wait to meet as many of you as I possibly can because that means a lot to me. If my presence, I love making people happy, but if my presence can make you happy, how hard is it to give that? Just have to find a way to put myself in the same space as you to meet the individuals who are filling me with all of the love and encouragement and the support that one can take in. And I seriously appreciate you for being here on this journey with me and learning my story as well. I don't take that for granted at all. I don't think money can save. Jump on a recording deal and skyrocket to the rest of your ideas. Sing, sing, sing. Bless the world with your talents. You can do it. That's definitely the goal. Thank you, Richard. That is definitely the goal. Yes, advertise yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. There you go, Richard. Exactly. Makes me happy. Thank you, Don. Where are the signs you had made? Right here. They're all in the truck. It's a whole stack of them. I created oh my goodness, writing these. Wow, writing these things took forever. I still have a lot more to create. I was going to put them out today, but it was raining pretty badly. I just moved it out of the screen, out of the frame. But it was raining pretty badly, and I think it'll destroy the ink. So I didn't put them out today. But I'm trying to do the research to find the best area, the best demographics. I'm doing some research on the city's demographics, major intersections online, and then once I find the location, right before heavy traffic hits, I'm going to go and hit those areas and stick these stakes in their homes. I'm pretty sure they'll be taken up. That's why I'm gonna wait right before traffic gets heavy, so at least they get seen for at least one day or one cycle. Hopefully it stays 2 or 3 months, but if it doesn't, I want to try to get as much exposure from these signs as possible. If I can get 200 new subscribers out of these signs, and at least 50 diehard fans from it, that's a win for the amount of money that I spent. So that's something that I'm working on now. Let's see, he's coming to Tennessee. You better believe it. I'm telling y'all, when I'm in a position to come and pop up on y'all and meet y'all, I'm doing that. I am definitely doing that. So it's funny. Somebody was watching. Well, she was watching videos on real estate because she's working on doing real estate, and they were mentioning she watched a video on what is called bandit signs. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do that tomorrow. And now I have the signs. I didn't waste any time at all. I spent everything I had to make sure I had everything that I need to get this project done, because I know other bills are going to pop up and I'll be broke at the end of the week. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because I have everything that I need for the future, not for today. So yeah. So it was just great marketing. Good. Because now I see what you done did. I love the research. I'm a research head. I'm gonna research everything I can on Elvis's approach to his marketing strategy to see what I can learn from that. Um, Good night. Take care. Thanks, Roderick, and all of you. Thank you for joining, Karen. I appreciate you for being here tonight. I'm sorry, Roxanne. Yeah. Well, I think this is a good place to end this live anyway, because I literally was in the middle of working on my side projects, and I literally said, you know what, I'm gonna tell my story, and I did. So I think that's the end of this live. Let's see when the next time I possibly go live, I have something else. Let's look at the calendar. Ooh, and I have to use the bathroom. Bad. Hold it. Let's see. So I'll probably be going live again Saturday. This Saturday I'll be going live. So hope to see you all then. Thank you so much for joining this live. Let me make sure I'm up to date on these comments. Thanks so much for joining this live. Thank you so much for watching this particular broadcast. I seriously appreciate you. For all of those that did hit the like button, for everybody that stayed from beginning to end, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. No, don't worry, Sandra. You're right on time, because being here, period, no matter how much time and no matter when you call it, being here means everything. So thank you, Sandra. Yeah, Sandra. Ex Bootlicker. There you go. Breaking your rule, ex Bootlicker. Hi, Karen Bonnie. Sorry, I'm still picking up trash at work. Thank you for joining, ex Bootlicker. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you Saturday when I go live and behind the scenes, and I'll tell you when the next video is going to be posted. Love y'all. Have a good night.